Hey True Believers, Englentine here with another batch of new comic book reviews. This is where we review comic books still on the shelf at the time of this recording. We'll always do a Marvel, a DC, and an independent comic book, and sometimes throw in a bonus one just for kicks. Alright, with all that aside, let's get this party started. So last week I reviewed a book called Marvel, and it was supposed to kind of be a continuation, or at least that's what it appeared to be, because it had Alex Ross, it had the word Marvel. Okay, so maybe it's going to be like Marvels, the miniseries, and it bombed, it flopped, it was horrible. This one, however, is exactly what I was looking for from that, and I understand you can't carry in preconceived notions and everything. This, however, is told by, and from the perspective of Namor's girlfriend, and I use air quotes around the term girlfriend. She's just a girl and a friend at the time. She wants a romantic relationship, but Namor is always kind of aloof to it. But it's all about her reacting and acting with Namor after he comes back from World War II with the invaders. And they're getting along fine. They go out to a fair when it gets attacked by none other than a Nazi shark in super armor. Not kidding, ladies and gentlemen, comic books are weird. You can tell right here, the art actually looks pretty good. It is a good looking book. I love the cover, by the way. Although my friend Maranya described it as he looks like a big salmon on the cover. I kind of dig it. And the story carries along well. It's also good. There are moments where it tries to become so serious it gets a little, I'm not going to say sanctimonious, I think it gets a little full of itself. Like, way too sure of its message and too, I don't know, just kind of, but it doesn't ruin it. It doesn't ruin the overall experience, because that's only one small part of the story where Namor has a breakdown over what he saw and all that. And we know, if you've ever read the Golden Age Namor stories, he was not past taking out any kind of U-boats, no matter what, and he was definitely a Nazi fighter. So it's kind of weird, but not a bad thing to see this kind of side of Namor, where he is being affected by what's going on around him. And hey, who knows, maybe that's what leads to him being a real jerk at times, Either way, if you haven't picked it up, I think you'll do yourself a favor if you did. Next up, we're going to Independent Aisle here and checking out Walt Disney Comics and Stories number 11. Now look, I'm a big fan of the Disney stories. I really am. I like what IDW's been doing with them. I'm a fan of all of the titles. That being said, I don't know how long this review is going to be, because I don't know how many times or how many different ways I could say this blows. I was looking forward to it. It's a happy-go-lucky kind of story. It's a good book that, if you're a fan of the characters, even though you're a 50-year-old man like I am, you could still find enjoyment in. You can find something to grab onto. This here, you have a whole bunch of people vacationing, or about to go on vacation, and they're complaining, and they're, this is going to happen, this is going to blah, and blah, blah, blah. And in all honesty, you're like, okay, well, why the hell are you going to go? It sounds like you're going to be miserable. But Scrooge, on the other hand, says, aha, if they're complaining, then I see ways of creating devices that will make their vacation better and make them happier on vacation, and so forth and so on. And so they go about creating something like, you're on the beach, but it's way too hot, blah, blah. And so they create an umbrella that actually gets cooler under the umbrella the hotter it gets outside. Well, actually, that ends up creating a snowstorm. And it's that kind of silliness. Unfortunately, the gags just don't work in this particular situation. Although I did like the idea about the suitcase that you throw in. It goes into a certain dimension where you can pull things out, but everything is getting mixed up because everybody's throwing their stuff in the same dimension. I thought that was an interesting idea. So at least you have that much. Overall, though, I did not like this book, and that's kind of sad. I was looking forward to it. Next up, we have the independent comic book Hidden Society number 1. Now, stop me if you've heard this one. There is a hidden world of magic, and they protect everybody from, yeah, it's one of those stories. And I would love to tell you that, oh my gosh, yeah, but this one does so many different things. This is something you've never read before. As a matter of fact, it's completely derivative of everything else. I get it. Look, I'm a big fan of Roger Ebert, and Roger Ebert once said it's not what the book, or well, in this case he was talking about movies, it's not what the movies are about, it's how they're about them. You can tell the same good versus evil story many, many times. It's how you change it up, how you make it your own. This one doesn't seem to be trying too hard to make anything their own. Now, it does do something where it introduces a character as a villain, and that villain ends up being the hero of the story. That being said, that's about as original as it gets. Once again, I'd love to give you a little heads up and say, oh my gosh, this book's good, you need to check this out. But unfortunately, Hidden Society can stay hidden for all I care. This one is a bit of a miss. I honestly have to say, Superman 21, that's going to be the last one we're reviewing today, and I never thought it would happen. I enjoyed a Bendis story. I've got to tell you, it's hard. It's getting harder and harder because Superman and Action Comics has been so bad, in my opinion. I've kind of hardened my heart to it, where I go again expecting not to like it, and that's not a good thing. You know, when you do these things, you really want to keep an open mind. In this case, we've got Superman trying to save Mongol from himself. It's quite an interesting little tale. Now, it starts off where we see Mongol in a ditch and Superman's talking to him, and then it goes back to the battle that led them up to that point. So for the most part, this entire book is fight scenes, and that does help because, you know, all Bendis is there for is to say, and then Superman punches Mongol, you know, and then they draw it. And is it drawn well? Actually, yeah, the art is pretty good in this one. I kind of enjoyed it for that fact. Lois Lane being confronted and then asked about, Superman said he was king of the world at one point. And she's trying to say, come on, you know, that wasn't serious and all that kind of thing. But what made this conversation interesting is she was confronted as, well, everybody thinks you're this star reporter, but you had Superman in your pocket all this time. And that's something I do believe needs to be brought up. It's like, well, you know, is Peter Parker a great photographer for getting all those pictures of Spider-Man when he was basically taking selfies? That was an idea that I thought definitely deserves to be explored. I'm not a big fan of Superman revealing his identity, but they did it, so now what are they going to do with it is a question that should be asked. Having at the end all of the Justice League go, dude, you need to get back on Earth. Your wife needs you because you said, hey, I'm Superman, and then flew away to space. That's not cool, bro. I kind of dug on that. I thought that was definitely an interesting part of the story, and something that somebody shouldn't have needed to tell him. He should have just known from instinct that was something he should do. Either way, I've got to be honest and say that for the first time in a long time, I've actually enjoyed a Bendis Superman book. So hey, thumbs up to you, dude. Anyway, as always, I line the covers up at the end here while I'm talking in order of the books that I like the most to the book I like the least. And this time it was the big two that served up the good books. I really did like Marvel Snapshot. I'm looking forward to the next part of that. Superman, gosh, fingers crossed that it continues. Hidden Society once again. You know what? It wasn't good, or at least I didn't like it, but it's mostly because I've seen it before, and as much as I love the Disney characters, this one did falter, but I do still like the characters, and I will still continue to read these books. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Let me know in the comments below, and if you do like this video, click on one of the ones that are popping up around you right now, and don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell if you haven't done it already, making sure that notifications are set on all for Google and YouTube. And please help out the channel by going over to Patreon or Ko-Fi and dropping $1 in the till. Help us keep making videos for you. Help us keep the lights on over here as well. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.